Thanks for pressing play today and watching The Gouge. My name is David Leslie. I'm a Marine Corps combat veteran. I'm also a veterans advocate, and I'm the founder of the Gouge Volume project, which is a veterans nonprofit organization here in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. The last time on The Gouge we were talking about Phoenix, Arizona. The VA director there of the medical center, Sharon Hellman. A lot of stuff has come out, but you know what? Let's recap real quick. They put out a fake waiting list. Alright, and on that fake waiting list, about 1,400 vets, once this came to light, were known to be on that waiting list. And it's also reported that 40 veterans died while on that waiting list. Now, this is the same director that earlier was in Spokane, Washington that I told you about, that lied about veteran suicides in order to show the performance of her center that she was managing, in order to sit there and show the VA that she was doing a good job. She lied to get where she was going. She was caught. Alright? Now, she was caught after the fact that she got a $9,000 bonus. Obviously, she was making $175,000 a year. She's not doing bad, but she got caught lying in Spokane, Washington, and they moved her down to Phoenix, Arizona. Hence, which is where we're at right now. Now, top brass in the VA sat there and put the whole nation under review. But as we continue on, I'm going to sit there and talk about the hypocrisy here in America directed towards our veterans. Now, hear me out for the next 5 minutes, but we're going to start there back in Phoenix, Arizona, because here's the surprising thing. In 1996, Congress passed a law. This law specifically states that the VA has to give care to the veterans within 30 days. Again, that law was passed in 1996. Congress knew that this was a problem in 2000, 2001, 2007, and 2012, when two states, South Carolina and Georgia, were brought to headlines. What did they find out? They found out they weren't abided by the law. Alright? They had a fake waiting list as well too, and they were cheating. They were lying about their numbers in order to show their high performance. Obviously, it didn't make mainstream media or even mainstream news like Phoenix, Arizona did. But Congress knew. They knew, and they didn't do anything before we lost these 40 veterans. Today, we've come to find out that Austin, Texas is doing the same thing. And I've been hearing about stuff like this in Austin for a while now. Definitely been hearing about San Antonio as well too, where veterans with PTSD are going through PTSD 101, which is the beginning stage, the opening course in the VA Medical Center. They've gone through it 9, 10. I've heard one veteran tell me he went through it 17 times and still hasn't seen his therapist. Now, we all know that we're losing 22 veterans a day because of complications with PTSD. They're committing suicide, and the VA is not doing anything about it. That's just straight hypocrisy. Why do I say that? Because we see commercials on TV day in and day out about how great the VA and the medical system is. And they blast it. They have a great PR. But if you actually peel back on the onion a little bit, you actually see that that is not true. There is hypocrisy there. Now granted, I'm not talking about every VA worker, but I'm talking about the top brass, the people at the very top levels, your managers, your directors. Obviously these people, you know what, just don't care. And at the same time, the VA itself is to blame, because even have they continued this fake waiting list, they've also done the same thing with the benefit backlogs. They went from 600,000 to 400,000 in a year. Alright, how did they do this? Simple. They denied everything, and they put it into the appeals process. Congress found out about this. Obviously, there needs to be more than just reform when it comes to the VA. We need to redo it. We need to redo the medical system. But let's continue on with the hypocrisy, because a lot of vets out there, especially those that are coming back from Afghanistan, are actually seeing it too, and they're really talking about it. Just like the Democratic senator who's running up for re-election this year, Pryor from Arkansas. His opponent is Tom Cotton, an Army combat vet. Now, let's hit a couple bulletins about, Mr. Senator Mark Pryor, because this is going out to you, buddy. You've been in office for 20 years. You hit retirement after your first 5 years. You make $174,000 a year. You get free travel to Asia, Europe. You also get free dinners, all on the backs of your lobbyists. And as weak as it sounds, you never have to pay for stamps, and because you're a senator, you never have to pay for travel anywhere here in the United States. With all that, why would you want to give it up? Why would you want to attack your veteran opponent? And you have no grounds to attack them on. You're scared. You're a Democrat, you're from Arkansas, you're connected to Hillary Clinton, and you're also connected deeply with President Obama. And Obamacare just really isn't looking good. Why? Because we just got finished talking about the VA. That is government regulated health insurance for the veterans. See how bad they're screwing it up, and see if you really want that yourselves too. But you know what? Hey, let's carry on. Here's another little tidbit about Mark Pryor. You, the taxpayer, have been paying for donuts in Starbucks every year he's been in office for his staff. On average, we're wasting them about $300,000 so they can have their latte from Starbucks every morning. And even though I am a staunch defender of the First Amendment, and I do understand that burning the American flag is a form of free speech, even though I don't agree with it, there was a law on the books in Congress, and he voted against it. This law made it illegal to burn the American flag. Why not? That's our national symbol. That's our national pride. As Americans, we should look at Old Glory and be very proud. But again, that is First Amendment right. I disagree with it. But you know what, just to sit there and show, weakness in Mr. Pryor. He had the chance to outlaw it. He chose not to, among other things. Check out his voting record. It's all public information. You can get that for free. But you know what, let's carry on. Let's carry on to even the worst hypocrite, I think, of all, which is John McCain. I can't always pick on the Democrats, but this is definitely a Republican that doesn't need to come back to office. I've actually met Mr. John McCain, and let me tell you, he is one class act. Talking about a veteran that doesn't care about veterans, check out his voting record. Check it out. Just off the top of my head, there was a bill on the floor, $430 million allotted to the VA so they can help pay for outpatient care for veterans, meaning that veterans could actually seek care outside of VA medical centers for anything. I don't know, how about PTSD? How about TBI? Mr. McCain, you didn't want it. So how can a veteran not care about his veterans? Talk to the veterans from his state too. They have a lot to say, especially since his state holds one of the highest homeless veteran population in the entire United States. But you know what, let's continue on with the hypocrisy. These are men and women just like myself that gave up our own personal liberty. Even though it was temporary, we gave it up in defense of yours. We defended our country. We volunteered for it. That was something we all wanted to do. We went to war for our country. Regardless if we agreed with it or not, we did it. Why? Because we wanted to be a part of the bigger picture. We understood sacrifice. We understood service. So why would you put somebody like that on the DHS domestic terrorist watch list? Veterans are on it. We've been on it since President Bush. We've been on it since after the opening stages of the Iraq War. And we're still on it. You're that quick to put us, veterans, on a domestic terrorist watch list, but you would not put up a true terrorist group on that watch list. I'm talking about the State Department. I'm actually talking about Hillary Clinton. Boko Haram. Why does that name sound familiar? I don't know. How about because they just took 200 girls from Nigeria while they were in school, getting a tremendously great education and hopefully a very bright, hopeful future, Hillary Clinton, when she had the ability, chose not to put them on the terrorist watch list. Now this was even after the DOJ wrote her, this was even after several senators wrote her, this was even after several organizations, departments within the federal government wrote the State Department, wrote Hillary Clinton begging to get this group on the terrorist watch list. She chose not to do it. And now we're looking at 200 Nigerian girls gone, being sold on the black market, according to a leader, for $12. And they had the chance to do something, they didn't do it. Hypocrisy. You're quick to put the men and women that served your country, that were willing to sacrifice life and limb for your country. You're willing to put us on a terrorist watch list, but you're not willing to put a true terrorist organization on a watch list. And now, look at what we're seeing. We're seeing them holding up signs that says hashtag bring back our girls. If you're that big of a hypocrite, you don't get to say that. You don't get to say hashtag bring back our girls. You don't get to say after the fact, oh, now I care. How about hashtag they murdered our Nigerian boys too? How about hashtag there's a genocide worldwide on Christian followers, on children of Christ, being murdered by the hundreds daily? Don't believe me? Look in Egypt. You don't get to be that big of a hypocrite. How about even at the local level, when veterans are standing up for the personal liberties that not only did they feel like they earned, we all feel like we earned, but being an American, you earned. Standing up for their liberties. I'm actually one of them and got called a terrorist from my local government. Or how about a local politician that chose to tell me after he spent his whole entire life, this was his first time in public office, he spent his whole entire life selling pesticide, but chose to tell me that I need to learn more about my government when I thought about running against one of his friends. Why? Because I felt like he was a weak leader. Our community needs strong representation. Our nation needs strong representation. Don't believe into the hypocrisy. I know I went over. That was my rant. But hey, thanks for listening to The Gouge. That was your information. Alright? Hope you listen to more. Hope you enjoy it. We'll definitely be talking about terrorist list on the next volume. I'm definitely going to be talking about Boko Haram, putting some information out about that. And have a good one. I'm going to be putting up a picture of my nonprofit organization, the Tufuhunan Project. We're a veterans organization that tries to help out veterans here in the local area. We're very small, grassroots, but I'm very proud of it. Check it out. Take a look at us on Facebook and see what we're doing. Thank you for tuning in to The Gouge.